And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Good evening, I'm David Kramer with Alaska Weather. Thanks for joining us for this general weather portion of our forecast for today. Starting off, a quick reminder that we do have the temporary changes to our forecasting, including today should be the last day where we're unable to do all of the YouTube segments due to some unforeseen issues. But starting tomorrow, we should have all the graphics and segments back online. Taking a quick look at our flood threat for the state. This is our only advisory out for the state right now, but continue to check the website weather.gov/Alaska for any updates to any watches, warnings, or advisories that we might have out. This flood advisory is out for the Chilkat River. Specifically, we are expecting some flooding concerns for the Klukwan area. We are already seeing observed heights of 126.11 feet. That was earlier this afternoon. And we can see here in the flood impacts that as we get over 126 feet, we are over bankful and water will begin to flood backyards along the Chilkat River near Klukwan. Then as we get up to 126.5 feet, we'll expect more flooding, more yards, bank erosion for some areas and some campgrounds as well. And then if we're here on our map, we can see right now we're at this vertical line. As we move forward in time, we do expect crests and ridges as we move up towards the top of this chart. We are going to see some of the highest expected values up to 127.17 feet for this, and we are seeing some diurnal changes. This is a snowmelt flooding induced flood advisory, so that means that when we get into the afternoon hours with some of the warmer temperatures, sun on the snow, we are seeing more snow melt, so we'll see an uptick in the water levels as that flood water gets down the river. So we are looking at those in more of the morning hours, giving time for the water to get down river for some of the flooding. But then as things cool down and we don't have as much snowmelt flooding, that will subside and go down a little bit. But we will see several of those ridges and troughs as we move forward in time. For fire danger, we are looking at some extreme fire danger for the Yukon Flats area here on Monday, 17th. Out over much of the interior down into the lower Yukon Valley area, we're going to see high to very high for that spruce adjective. But that's going to diminish as we get up to the Brooks Range and up along the Arctic coast, and south central and southwest Alaska quite a bit less. But there are still some areas in the Susitna Valley down in the western portions of the Kenai Peninsula where there are a few areas of very high. And then in the Copper River Basin, some areas of high expected there. Not much concern right now for southeast Alaska. Taking a look at our satellite imagery, you can see not a lot of cloud cover for much of the area around the state, but notice on that last frame where we start to see some of the convection kick up in the mountains especially. So we're starting to see some of those showers pop up that could turn into some thunderstorms later this afternoon and evening. We also have some cloud cover moving in over the northwestern portion of the state and fairly dry down in southeast as well. Taking a look at our weather for the remainder of the day. In those areas of southeast Alaska, we have this high pressure out over the Gulf of Alaska area, keeping some areas drier for southeast with some showers just a little bit farther inland from the coastal mountains. And in south central Alaska, still expecting to see more of those showers kick up this afternoon, potential for some thunderstorms there. Much of the western portion of the state should be fairly dry from this high pressure that's out by St. Lawrence Island. Some showers along the east and up into the Brooks Range as well. And down in the Aleutian Islands, we are seeing several lows moving through here that are bringing some rain throughout the Aleutians and starting to get into the Alaska Peninsula. As we look at specifically the thunderstorm outlook, the primary concern for today on Sunday is going to be down in south central through some of the areas in southwest, getting into the King Salmon and Dillingham areas. So look into tonight's weather. Low pressure continues to be out by the Aleutian Islands, bringing more rain to the area, extending farther to the east for the Alaska Peninsula. High pressure still out over the northern portion of the Bering Sea, keeping much of the west coast fairly dry for tonight. And then other area of high pressure out over the Gulf of Alaska, keeping much of south central and southeast pretty dry for tonight as well. Weak low moving into the eastern portion of the interior. Still going to see some showers there in the eastern interior up into the Brooks Range and along the northwestern portion of the Arctic coast. Moving into Monday, we're going to start to see some development of more showers throughout much of the mainland Alaska. Again, this is going to be primarily in the afternoon and evening hours once we get more of the showers popping up from the daytime heating. Still having high pressure out over the Gulf of Alaska, some of the coastline fairly dry, and then keeping much of southeast dry into Monday as well. Looking out over the Bering Sea, high pressure is moving off a little bit to the west, but we're still seeing a lot of influence of that out towards the St. Lawrence Island area and much of the west coast as well. Then our low pressure down by the Aleutian Islands, still bringing rain for the central Aleutians through most of the Alaska Peninsula as well on Monday. Moving over into our thunderstorms here, still seeing the potential for some afternoon and evening thunderstorms through much of south central Alaska, down into portions of southwest, now making it to the Bethel area, and then up in the Yukon Flats area, as well as eastern portions of the Brooks Range. Moving into Tuesday, high pressure really starting to push off to the west there, but still a lot of dry conditions for the Bering Sea and the western Aleutian Islands. Low pressure out by the eastern Aleutian Islands continuing to bring rain with the southerly winds off of the North Pacific to the eastern Aleutian Islands, Alaska Peninsula, and now to Kodiak Island. Out over mainland Alaska, we have area of low pressure out over the interior, seeing a lot of more shower development, especially in the afternoon and evening hours for much of mainland Alaska from the southwest through all of the interior and the Brooks Range. Then we still have in the Gulf of Alaska our high pressure there, keeping areas along the North Gulf Coast fairly dry. Kenai Peninsula looking to be pretty dry on Tuesday, as well as down into southeast Alaska. As we look at our thunderstorms for Tuesday, moving up a lot of the activity into the interior, especially the central and eastern portions of the interior, extending down into the upper Kuskokwim Valley as well out there by McGrath. Moving into temperatures, lows for Monday expected to be in the mid to upper 40s for the most part for the Panhandle area. And for south central Alaska, in the upper 40s to lower 50s. For our high temps, getting up into the 70s for interior locations. Glen Allen getting all the way up to 78, getting up into the 60s for much of the south central areas closer to the coast, and 61 out by Kodiak. In southeast, areas by the water staying a little bit cooler, only getting up into the lower 60s, but up by Juneau and Haines getting up into the 70s expected for Monday afternoon. Lows for Tuesday morning dropping down to 50 degrees or just below in a lot of the southern locations, staying a little bit warmer up there by Haines and Skagway. Out for south central Alaska, dropping down into the mid to upper 40s for the most part, a little bit warmer for the interior locations, staying above 50 degrees for those lows. Tuesday afternoon highs getting up into the 60s for most places around south central, again warmer in the Copper River Basin, 76 for Glen Allen area. Then for southeast, getting into the 60s for most locations, still warmer up by Juneau area and especially out there by Haines, 71 expected high in Haines. Moving up north, dropping down for our morning lows, we are going to see temperatures primarily in the 50s for all of the interior, in the 40s for the Brooks Range, and right around freezing for the Arctic coast. Those near freezing lows are going to continue into the Kotzebue Sound area, but on the other side of the Seward Peninsula, looking at lows dropping down into the lower 40s. Monday afternoon, picking up into near 60 degrees for the Norton Sound area, into the 40s for the Kotzebue Sound area, and staying pretty cool up along the Arctic coastline in the 30s for the most part there until we get a little bit farther east, and we'll see temperatures getting up into the 40s. For interior portions of the state, upper 70s for much of the interior, some of the higher temperatures as we move out to the east. And then Tuesday morning dropping down into the 50s in the interior, 40s again for the Brooks Range, and near freezing again for the Arctic coast. Down in Kotzebue Sound area is around freezing there as well, and then in the 40s for the Norton Sound. Tuesday afternoon highs getting up into the mid to upper 50s for the Norton Sound area, and the mid 30s for the Kotzebue Sound area, near 40 degrees now for the Arctic coastline. As we drop down into the interior, not quite as warm as we are expecting on Monday afternoon, but still pretty warm western interior, getting up into the upper 60s and the 70s for the central and eastern interior, and 80 degrees expected for Fort Yukon. Taking a look now for southwest Alaska. Temperatures in the morning on Monday are going to drop down into the 40s along the coast, staying a little bit warmer in the 50s interior. For the Alaska Peninsula, dropping down into the 40s as well, and then lower 40s for the central and western Aleutians. Monday afternoon, getting up into the upper 40s to near 50 degrees for the Aleutian Islands, and then into the lower 50s for the Alaska Peninsula, up into the 70s for interior places of southwest, 72 expected for Aniak and for Bethel, but in the 50s near the coast. Tuesday morning low is going to drop down into the 40s along the coast, lower 50s, more inland into the mid 40s for the Alaska Peninsula, and lower 40s for the Aleutian Islands. Tuesday afternoon highs getting up into the mid to upper 40s for the Aleutian Islands. Alaska Peninsula getting up to around 50 degrees. And then in the 60s as we get to southwest Alaska. Alaska Weather, I'm David Kramer, and thanks for watching.